We are so excited to be here with Katherine Schwarzenegger again. The last time I think we saw you, we were in a hotel in LA.
Much more desirable to be there than here, but details because it's old, but we'll carry on.
She is a New York Times bestselling author, mom of 3, and a candid voice on the messy, funny, heart-expanding side of motherhood. Her new children's book, Cat and Brandy, inspired by her own childhood pony, explores courage, trust, and overcoming fear.
Thank you.
Your childhood pony. You had a pony when you were a child.
I had a pony when I was a child that was like now that I'm a mom, like the sketchiest horse to haul your child around. I'm like, Mom, what about that? Did you think that was okay? But, you know, it ended up being great because she had like this big scar on her face. I don't know, my eyes are watering. They had this big, I'm emotional.
Thank you for that childhood.
She had this like big scar on her face, and she was so like, she had this past that was really crazy and just like a totally skittish horse, which is not ideal, obviously. And she really like took a lot of time to warm up to me. I took a lot of time to warm up to her. And we both came into our journey together with these fears and alongside each other worked through them. And so in this book, it talks about working through your fears and overcoming your fears and being brave, but also just about the healing power of animals. Because while this book is about a horse, I've talked to so many people this past month who are talking about different animals that they've had in their lives who have given them this sense of calm that you can't get anywhere else. And for me, it was a horse, but I talked to someone last week who had it as a rabbit, then someone, you know, of course, dogs and cats, and animals are just such a healing and calming presence in our lives. So it also talks about that.
You know what's so, well, first of all, horses like can sense people. You know, some animals can like, really sense, a lot of animals can, but like cats are just a little bit more tricky in life because if they don't like you, I feel like it's maybe not a reflection of you. You know, like sometimes cats just they're not in the mood. But dogs really don't like some people. Horses really don't like it's a trust thing with animals. And I was wondering, like, you had to trust the horse has to trust you because it's sort of like the ultimate relationship because it's the only animal you ride. Like there's no other animal you ride in life. And then you're a mom and you're hoping this pony likes your kid, and then you jump on a pony and you just go, like, because they can buck you off. And I've heard of this happening when they get in a mood, they just buck you off. They don't like you anymore.
Oh, my mom would have me ride this pony that threw me off every single time I got on, like every single time. And I don't think she did it like intentionally, like, oh, I'm going to put you on the horse because today I'm going to want you to fall off. But I mean, it really, and that's what we talk about in this book is like this little girl fell off of her horse, and it's really based off of my own experience falling off and having this like fear, of course, that like every single time I would get on, or I didn't want to be around horses because it terrified me. But my mom really always was like, you have to get back on, you have to get back on. And in the moment, it's not, you know, something that you can really wrap your head around as a child. And it translates over into life of like all the times you fall down, you know, physically and metaphorically, that you get back up and you try again. And I think that even though that happened when I was at such a young age, it really has allowed itself to play out in so many different areas of my life. And it actually, a couple of months ago, my daughter fell off a horse, and I had like that moment of like, okay, we're gonna like, this is my time to do exactly what my mom did with me. And she was like hysterical and so scared. And I, you know, sat with her for a little bit, but I had her get right back on the horse. And she was like, why are you making me get back on? I'm like, you'll understand later.
I've been through this.
Yeah, she's like so confident in it now and so confident around animals. And it's really through just like patience and being calm, because as you said, like horses and, you know, so many animals, I agree about the cats thing because I'm not totally comfortable with cats anyway, but horses in particular definitely have the ability to sense your energy and sense your vibe, and they just won't put up with anything that's not being 100% authentic. And that's why there's so many practices of equine therapy and people, you know, having emotional support animals and things like that, because they really just like require you to be 100% authentic, and anything but that they just don't have time for.
You know, my daughter is now doing applications to like universities. We call it university here, but colleges. And she's working with someone to help her through the applications. And she was like, one of the big things that some of the schools are looking for with like essays and more about you is resilience. And one of the questions is literally like, when was there a time in your life? And I mean, their lives are so young and little. When I like one of the examples, like in a job or in something, like what was an example of something that made you fall off and get back up? And she said the reason they're really trying to find out about this, and also integrity is a big one, is because these kids are going off to college and they can't handle anything because they've never had to handle or overcome anything. And you have all these kids who are just like, they get there and they're so overwhelmed and they just freeze, and it's like they can't even handle anything. So they want kids to really, that have been through some things. And we always say, like, kind of like, have we given our kids enough obstacles so that they know how to get back
off the horse and get back up again? You know, I'm like, we're going to the barn this weekend. Everyone is falling off a horse.
Yeah, you're going to just spook a horse, send it into the hills for your kids to.
And then you're going to pick up all the shit. Yeah, because I'm tired of picking up your shit.
And dump them. You know, it's really like, because your kids are young, and that's so crazy. A lesson your mom taught you stood with you for so long. And then when you wrote the book, is it hard to write a children's book with lessons? Like, I feel like that would be really hard for them to understand metaphorically what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that, like, you guys know this, having so many children between the two of you. It's like you spend so much time as a parent reading books with your kids. And also, for me, I spend so much time reading books like over and over again that I'm like, whoever wrote this book did not take into account the fact that, like, as an adult, I'm reading this book and, like, I also want to be entertained, or I want to have something that's like, has something that's keeping me wanting to read over and over. Yeah. And so with this book, and also just like with the books that I put out, I always try to have a positive message, because as parents, we're reading these books. And also, I really tried to keep in mind the conversations that would come up while reading the book, and also after, because I grew up reading books that I feel like my mom would use them as like a segue to have a conversation about something that's like not always fun to bring up to your children, or that feels like, you know, how is my child going to understand this? How are they going to relate to this? And with this, like the subject of overcoming your fears or being afraid of something, my girls right now are 5 and 3, and these are subjects that are coming up. Like, my kids right now are terrified of Halloween decorations. And so I'm like we're like going through, you know, what does it mean to be scared of something? Okay, that's a feeling, like you're feeling, how do we work through that? And so in this book, I was really mindful of the person reading the book to the child, because that's what I want for myself. Like, when I get a book, I want someone to keep in mind that I'm reading this book, and what are the conversations and prompts that can come up while reading that say, like, oh, mommy, what are you afraid of? Or how did you work through your fear? How did you tap into bravery? What does it mean to be brave? What does it mean to be courageous? Like, all of these different conversations that I feel like as parents, they're ones that we know we're going to have eventually, but it's like, how do we get there in a natural and organic way that also engages the child and allows them to connect to what the message is there?
Yeah. And in reality, when you go to read a book with a kid that age, or any kid, you can barely make it past the first sentence before they have 100 questions. And you're like, so when you're tired, you're like, I just want to get through this book, because you know they want to finish it. But those little conversations are the important ones.
Yeah. And then also, like, the next morning, I feel like they also, like, my girls are always asking for books and story time at breakfast, when we're like outside, when, you know. And so it was really sweet, because last week I actually got the like the actual copies, because, you know, like before that you have like these like dummy copies of the book. And so my girls were just grabbing the book and they're like, this isn't your book inside. And so finally I got the actual copy of my book. And last week I got the actual copies, and my oldest daughter Lila took the book and she like flipped through all the pages, and she came to me and she's like, Mommy, I read your book. It's really good. You did a really good job. And she was just looking at the pictures, because that's also, you know, when you're reading a book to a kid, it's like pictures are such a huge part of everything. But reading the story to my girls was really sweet because we ended up going riding like 3 days later, and my daughter Lila and I were riding side by side together, and she was like, "Mommy, we're just like Kat and Mommy in the book. We're like the real life Kat and her mommy." I was like, "This is landing. We're nothing." So it was really sweet.
Really cute.
When you put them in, like, do you think there's any other way that you can, like, how do you face fears if it's not through something like an adversity? And I know this is not in the book, but like in terms of like, if you're in Toronto and you don't have a horse, or like more mom to mom, I'm asking, like, what are the other ways we're teaching them? I guess Halloween, like the fears, because I think that so many of us, like, as you were saying that, I'm like, oh, so much of us just placates them. We're like, no, don't worry. Like, it's not real. Like, is it something we just have to move through by putting them back on the horse? Because I'm thinking, what else could I put them on?
And like also when you're reading the book, what examples could you give that they could like experience, they could imagine in their own life?
Just thinking, I didn't really touch this lesson in their childhood. So I'm thinking I have to go back. They're going to have to go back and revisit this one. I'm a little bit nervous as you brought this up. I'm like, oh no.
I really think honestly, like if you think about it, and as I said, like this book is about a horse, but it's really not, you don't have to have a horse to relate to this book, and you definitely don't have to have a horse to like get the benefit of the healing energy of animals. But when it comes to overcoming your fears, I mean, the amount of things that kids talk about being afraid of, it's like, I'm afraid to ride a bike because I'm going to fall off. I'm afraid to go on the monkey bars. I'm afraid to climb up that big structure or climb that tree. Like, I'm afraid to make new friends or go to a new school. There are constantly things that I feel like as parents, we're trying to talk to our kids about. And it's like, yes, for Halloween decorations, I can say to them, like, they're not real, or that scary witch on the side of the street is not real, but it's not, that doesn't do anything for them because they don't care if it's real or if it's not real. It's just like that it's something that scares them. So like last night, I was talking to my daughter, Lila, about, let's talk about things that, like that make you happy. What are things that make you feel really safe and really secure? And what are things that bring you joy? Because at the nighttime, there's, this like, if you start thinking about everything that makes you scared, or if you just saw something that's scary. So it's a little bit different. But like with a bike, Lila fell off of her bike and she was scared to get back on. So we had a whole conversation about that and being brave and talking about different times where she was brave or where she was strong and translating that over into her life. And that was something that I feel like my mom did in a really great way with myself and my siblings growing up, was like, she didn't try and put us in this bubble wrap to not allow us to have the feeling of being afraid of something. Like, she was very encouraging of, you're going to do this, you're going to climb a tree and you're going to fall off, and that's okay. And like, you're going to be scared to get back on. So let's talk about it. Let's talk through it. Let's, what does it mean to be brave? And, there's nothing more amazing than a brave, strong girl. Let's be brave and strong together. So I think those conversations really also helped me growing up. And I think are ones that I hope to have with my kids and have already started.
I wish you wrote this like 10 years ago. I'm feeling a little bit like, oh God, because I do know fear and anxiety kind of go hand in hand often. And we get so nervous that they're feeling anxious about doing something, but it could just be fear of them doing something. So,
yeah.
And then you overcome it, and then you grow, and then you get over that.
It's like, it's such a great concept, because I don't feel like it is one that we tackle a lot in parenthood. We do all the time, but not with the tools of like the conversations. Like, it's just something I'm thinking about, like, oh my God.
And especially now, like, we grew up a certain way where our parents were, busy and they were doing their own thing. But now it's like parents are, it seems like they are literally
so involved,
bubble wrapping their kids. And and, parenting experts are always like, you have to let them face it. But sometimes it's just so much easier to take away their fear and to not go through it for yourself and also for them.
But
more than ever.
She got kicked off a horse and didn't want to go back. I don't know if I would have gone back, which is so interesting, but it was part of your life. Like, it's like, where do we draw the line of pushing them for our comfort versus theirs? It's like, it's such a good conversation for everyone to have and think about as a parent, because you face it all the time, like whether it's a new school, a new course, going to, like trying it's basically trying new things. And if you don't like it, try it one more time, a few more times before we like pack it in.
Yeah. I mean, I also like, as I said, my kids are young and it's hard to say like, oh, I want them to experience this fear and not as a parent just want to make everything better. It's like, of course, your natural instinct as a parent is to be like, oh, I want them to be happy. I want them to feel good. I don't want them to be afraid. I want to make it all better. And then it's like, what do you teach them if you do it? I feel like it's a balance. My husband's always like, you can't bubble wrap the kids. I'm like,
Don't do that. You're like, I am not. They fell off a horse and they're back on it. Freaking wrote a book about it. I got this. It's also being a mom, right? Like being a mom is part of like protecting them. Like it's really hard to like think that they're going to be hurt or like riding a horse is a big one. I never really thought of that you get on an animal that you really don't have a lot of control over. And it is full trust. Like it really is a trust. Like in a bike, you have control. Like a lot of things you have a control. A horse, not a bull and a horse. I'm not sure you have a lot of control over.
A bull.
Well, those are like the things.
No, especially not in a bar.
Those are the only two things you ride, right?
what about a camel?
Oh, well, okay.
Maybe. But I feel like someone's always got the camel. Like they're always holding it.
That's
You
in the
can't
card.
go rogue? I don't know.
There's always.
I don't know. I have yet to ride a camel. So I think that they roam free, don't they?
Next book, Katherine. Next book. I see like the camels in the works,
What animals live in your house?
What animals?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how this happened to me, but I have chickens and I just don't. They were a little bit to me like cats, just a little unpredictable. And they have the same kind of like
Wait, you have chickens at your house now?
yes.
Oh.
they're skittish, right? A little bit skittish. They're hard to
They're
get
a little bit like, they're not like the calmest energy. And I don't know if it's like, I'm told that it's like a breed of chickens that have I'm learning a lot about chickens at this phase of my life. And it's unexpected because I thought that it would be such a great idea because in January we were evacuated from the fires in the Palisades and we were like displaced and we were, out of our routine. And so I was like, our friend was like, do you want to have these chicken eggs? You can hatch them yourself. And I was like, sure. And then it was just like, then they all came and then some of them were roosters and you can't have roosters in Los Angeles. So then they had to go to this rescue place where they can just roam free. And then now I have these other chickens and I'm like cleaning the cage of the chickens and my girls are learning about chores and like being.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great. Fear and chores. I think chores are a good one, especially if
I'm a huge. I'm very like, I guess more traditional with the chores and also the implementation of the chores and the strictness of the chores. And this is like probably a little bit of like my father coming out, but my dad had no patience or excuses for not doing your chores. Like I was brought home from my semi-formal because I didn't take my clothes out of the dryer and fold them and put them away. And I came home from the semi-formal because of that. Like my dad was very strict about it. And I was always like, this is terrible. How could you do this to us? Nobody has chores like this.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, we're doing the same thing.
Oh, I know.
She used to have to come home from the sleepover and do chores. And raking leaves.
Saturday morning.
I said out in the neighborhood, no kids are raking leaves anymore. I'm like, that was my job. Shoveling snow, raking leaves, dishwasher, unloading the car. Like,
I don't know how we got here. We really screwed up. We need you and your dad to come here.
You need to do one on chores. Do you have one on chores? That's a really good one too. Like fear and then like structure and chores. I think parents need that one.
Big time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny because so many people are like, you see all these things, I think, especially on social media that talk about like chores not being like, the chore chart. Like I had a chore chart growing up. Mm-hmm. It's like how chore charts are bad or they just like don't, they give kids stress or anxiety or like the messaging behind a chore chart. I'm like, I loved a chore chart.
Oh.
If I could like put my little star sticker on the chore chart every single day, I would love it. And also just like the visual of, when they get old enough to read, of course, like seeing what your responsibilities are, checking them off. Like I do this with my stepson. It's like, there's the chores. We gotta just,
Also, though, it's so weird that little kids are like, it's like a learning moment because they do actually want to help. They love
it.
Doing chores and putting things away. And we're always like, not we, but some people are like, no, they're not doing it right. I'm like, who cares? They're actually doing it. Like, let's celebrate that they're helping because we're so often to push them away. And it's like, if you can get them to keep it as a habit, because habits are what help us be successful in life. Start when they're young. Like, it's so genius to start when they're young. And fear, all of it. Like, it's what they learn as they get older. If we get nervous, they get nervous. If we don't let them do it, they won't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I love even just giving them little jobs. My mom always said that when the girls were really young, she's like, little kids like this age, they love little jobs. Like, have them help you,
Dishwasher.
Or put the laundry in the laundry bag. Dishwasher, I mean, if I want to break some glass.
No, my kids do the bottom. I do the top. Like when they were little, they do the cups, the things that they can do.
So all of it.
You have 3 little kids, you have a podcast, and you wrote a book. Like, when moms are looking at you and they're like, how do you manage and wake up at 4:45 and not go back to bed?
How long did the book take you? Like, how long does that take? A long time, right?
2.5 years. When people are like, oh my God, how could you put out a book and also have children? I'm like, first of all, this book took me 2.5 years. So if somebody asks me what's next for me, just don't, because this took me so long and I want to be present in the launch of it because it literally is like, everyone, and I understand the desire to be like, so what are you going to do next? Or what is this? And I'm like, can we stop asking everybody what we're going to do next? Like, let's just be present in that this took me 2.5 years and whatever it is, it's like, it took me 2.5 years. I'm being present for this. And also, like, I have children. I have other things that I have to get done. I have to do interviews. It's like, you guys get it. It's a lot of things that you have to keep track of.
I actually don't know how moms do it with anything on top of it without being a mom. I actually say to myself, I'm not sure how we do it with a job, and like, just the sheer management of children is so much work.
And then to throw on the pressure of what's next. Guys, like, I can't handle anymore.
We're trying to get dinner on the table. That's where I'm at right now. Like, I'm just worried about what's next. Like,
I know.
Today.
I know and then you throw in, like, if your child is sick or if there's a meltdown that you didn't pencil into your schedule that
Braces, doctor's appointment, eye doctors, like, it goes. You're like,
and then our parents, aging parents.
Yeah, aging parents. Yeah, caregiving is going to be a huge, part of it for so many of us. So I always like to remind everybody, because it seems that just like in the interviews for this book coming out, I feel like I'm getting the question so much, like, how do you balance?
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys get this too. Like, how do you balance it all? And like, how do you have all your children and your marriage and being a daughter and a sister and doing a job and then also launching a book? And I'm like, I don't balance it. It just doesn't exist. So like, I haven't gone on a date night with my husband in many, many weeks because right now I'm like in a season where I'm very, very busy. And also he came out of a season where he was very, very busy. So like, we popped in a date night when we could, but now like, we're fully focused on like the kids back to school. I'm going out of there's so many things going on. There's no balance. Doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, I know.
You need a wife too. That's what I did. I just got a wife. So when you can't fill it, when you can't do it, someone else does. Maybe not the date on your husband, but like, all the work stuff she doesn't get. I mean, it would be great if you could actually. Can you fill in this one for me? I'm going to take Ide in.
Yeah.
But like, the work stuff, it's great to have a wife because you're like, what, I'm feeling a bit. Do you got this one today?
Yeah. It's true. Well, it's okay because when anyone asks you that, you can say, well, Nat told me my next project is a book on chores. So that's what I'll be doing.
That's my next thing. That's like on my to-do list.
10 years out, chores are all relevant, like
evergreen.
Just in case you cared, this is off topic too, but because dopamine is such a problem right now with kids who are on their phones, right?
Yeah.
It's like, things don't satisfy them as much anymore. So chores are like the OG dopamine filler where they learn to be successful and feel good about what they achieve because they're not, the way they're achieving is not, they're not feeling fulfilled anymore. So chores are actually so much more.
Oh my gosh,
chores.
Very timely book, Katherine. Good job. So
I still get the dopamine rush when I make my bed in the morning, mostly because I'm terrified that my dad will show up at my house and my dad went through this phase like when when each of us moved out of our houses and into like when we went to college.
Yeah.
My dad would have these random like visits to our room.
Spot checks. Spot checks. It was spot checks.
Yeah. And he travels around with a giant iPad. He doesn't have a phone. It's just an iPad. And he would come in and take a picture of our bed if it was unmade and then email it to our entire family.
I love that.
Say, like, looks like Patrick forgot to make his bed or Christopher. And like, he'll still do it to my brother Patrick, who's now married. And he'll go over there like on a bike ride and he'll be like, forgot to make your bed this morning. What happened? What happened here?
Actually, it's kind of legendary. When they get older, they become legends for the things that drive you crazy. Like,
but also they just like, yeah, I don't.
She does.
My kids, they shamed. One of them did really badly in school last year, and they all shamed him so badly that he's like, "Oh gosh, I have to." Like, he's like doing homework for the first time.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure. Okay. Peer pressure.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like I have such respect for like when parents just don't have a filter.
Yes.
Like, you know what? This is.
I don't care what everyone is supposed to be doing. This is how I do it, and it has worked quite well. Obviously, you still make your bed.
I still make my bed just out of fear that my dad will come over and just.
I'm going to start. I so much for me today. We've got to tackle fear. We've got to do chores. They've got to make their bed. I mean, this is great, Katherine. Thank you for kicking my parenting butt because, wow,
the job is never done.
Where can we get your book? Where is it open? What age would you recommend? Is it for all ages of kids? And it sounds like parents could use a little soup song of it too.
I mean, listen, it's a book for all ages, but I mean, like I read it to my daughter Eloise and my daughter Lila. They're 3 and 5, and it's probably good up until like 7 or 8. But yeah, so it's like a really sweet book that talks about topics that are, important and sometimes challenging for us parents to navigate how to get to those topics. And it's available November 4th in bookstores and, of course, online, Target.com, BarnesandNoble.com. I love supporting local booksellers. So, yes, Amazon is so convenient, but also indie bookstores are so important to support because I have so many amazing memories growing up of just like sitting in bookstores, and they're important to support. So that's
can we see the cover?
And there's pretty pictures. Aww, I'm so nice.
I know she did. Petra Brown did such a good job. Just like I was very specific with the kind of illustrations I wanted because as a young girl, I would kind of get lost in just like pictures in books and dream about them and just like think about them all the time. So I wanted to do a book that really captured the ability for children to like dream about images after the fact because such a sweet time.
Yes. No,
it's such a neat.
I love when I read the kids' books. I like pictures and cookbooks with pictures. It's got to have pictures.
Oh, and they've got to have nice pictures. Nice. Like you can't just have like a picture.
Oh,
no.
Yeah, I totally agree. By the way, even in adult books, I'm like, where are the pictures?
Well, I did read one this summer that I did not think that was going to have those spicy pictures in them, and my kids picked it up. I picked it off the bookstore table of like the top summer sellers.
There are pictures, and they're juicy.
Like it was It was like a romance novel. Like it was like a chick flick book, and it had images of.
We'll send you the name.
Positions. And my kids were like, what are you reading? And I was like, and then everyone said, she's a hilarious, amazing writer, but you got the special edition with pictures. And I was like,
thank you.
I did not mean to. And I'm like, it was your like summer read. And I had friends up and they're all like, what are you reading? It all went around. I'm talking.
Give that to me.
I do have to give that to you. It's like Megan Cook or something. Apparently she's a great writer, but it's a summer read.
Sexy summary.
Yeah.
So I find the summer that 50 Shades of Grey was like a thing, and you would look at somebody across the way reading it and you'd be like, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you find it in like your mom's drawer and you're like, whoa.
No, how about that? I took it out in front of my mom and was reading it on an airplane, and she was like, Katherine, Everybody's staring. I was like, so everyone's reading this book?
Like, now imagine there were pictures in it and your kids were flipping through it being like, what are you reading? Oh my God.
That's a different level. So
It was, yes. So, but just pictures at all ages. We want to thank you so much. You're such a pleasure, honest to gosh. You're such a gem, as my teenager would say. And
Oh, you're a gem?
if you're a gem, it's the highest compliment.
Oh my-
There's nothing better than being a gem to a teenager.
Better get a text. Yeah, I'm a gem.
If you're a gem, you've made it.
Okay.
I love that. Thank you for teaching me the ways. I feel very disconnected from the teenage group. Like,
Here, tell them we'll come, and then you'll have all the lingo of 6, 7, and gems and all the things. But we're so appreciative of you, and congratulations. Enjoy every moment of it, and read it till you're sick of it.
yeah, I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you.
Bye.